Hello everyone, this is Jazz here at Jazz OCR Athlete and of course at Urban Athlete Fitness. Thank you again for tuning in. All right, so now we're just moving on with my progression and sort of like my daily diary, post surgery. So the last video I talked about what physical therapy is going to look like, after like week 1 or 2. Sometimes a little longer depending on your capabilities, how strong you are going into the surgery, how committed you are to recover, right? Are you putting hours in a day? Are you doing your homework? Are you doing all the little extras that your physical therapist wants you to do? Right? That makes the difference in your recovery and how long you're going to be in one phase of training. So my week 1 and 2 is going to be maybe your week 1 through 4, right? So let's hope you are committed and you do it right. So now we're up to like kind of week 3 and 4. Looks a little bit different. Exercise get a little more harder, a little more slight activation, and just trying to work a little harder on the range of motion, unsupported, meaning I'm going to start to do things myself without him holding my arm and doing it for me. So that's the next phase, phase 2, unsupported minor activation. So let's get into that. It's a big step when you can start doing things on your own. Kind of opens up your possibilities. All right, this is what it looks like. All right, so working on this range of motion. All right, we're going to lay on our back. All right, let's call this supine, and you're going to bend your knees. And we're going to use predominantly your healthy, good arm to start. All right, once you get better, then you can kind of use both arms with the same amount of force. But at first, you kind of want to just really using my left arm here, trying to push me through the furthest range of motion that I can go. Small little hold there, 3 to 5 seconds, and then come back, right? If you feel like you get a little stuck, that's okay. You're gonna take your right shoulder or the shoulder that's injured, and you're gonna depress it, meaning push your shoulders away from your ears and think about tucking your shoulder blades into your back pockets. If you could tuck your shoulder blades, think about doing that, right? You're pushing your shoulders down and you're squeezing them together, your shoulder blades, right? We call that retraction. So I'm gonna depress my shoulders, especially my right, and it's gonna allow me to now kind of push through that range of motion a little bit more, right? And I feel a little better there doing that. Little 3-second holds, and then back. Once you feel comfortable and you're not in pain anymore, like on week 4, in my particular case, I was able to now use my right and drive with my right arm more, my injured arm, a little more, and try to get, right, push it through that range of motion. So this is all about shoulder flexion. We talked about this in my last video. One of the most important steps to get our range of motion back is shoulder flexion. When we bring it back, that's extension, and we bring it up, that's flexion. All right. So again, you can do that 30 times is what my physical therapist is doing. You can do 3 sets of 15, something like that. But basically, you want to stick to this for a little while, and this is going to kind of help get you along. Another one's going to be take a towel, a little roll up. You're gonna put it under your arm, basically like where your bicep is. And you're gonna hold your arm here. You sit on your side. You use your muscles to kind of keep your shoulders back. So use those rear delts and those traps and the rhomboids, those muscles that sit in between your shoulder blades. And you just basically kind of keep your shoulders back in place, right? And feeling those muscles activate, right? So think about those muscles while you're doing it, right? Tighten up your fist, right? Now we're working on external rotation, which we did talk about in the video prior to this, right? But I couldn't move really much at all. Here is much better, right? I'm healing up to week 3 and 4, and I'm doing a little bit of my own stuff, which we'll get into. More than what the physical therapist is showing me, right? But again, really trying to use those back muscles, the rear delt muscles, and the upper posterior back muscles. It's trying to push you to that range of motion, right? Once you get a little stronger, you can hold a dumbbell, or in some cases, you can get another towel. I think I have one. You can squeeze onto that towel, right? And just kind of go up, right? Little holds there again, little 3 to 5 second holds. Again, you can do 30 straight, or 3 sets of like 10 to 15. Depends on how much you can handle. Again, external rotation is always going to be something you're going to be working on. That shoulder flexion, it's never going to change. Those stay. You just progress on how we do that, right? Because it's important, right? These are the most important ones, and they're one of the hardest ones, and they're uncomfortable. At some point, you have to get to a place where you have to push through those uncomfortable ranges of motion, and just to progress, just uncomfortable ranges of motion, which is this right now. All right, so our next one is going to be basically a little bicep activation, kind of pushing through with the triceps, and a little shoulder tension, right? So we want to add some tension to here, but not too much, because again, we're still healing. In my particular case, I'm healing from a tendon being cut and moved over. And some of you might have rotator cuff surgery, maybe a labrum tear, things like that. So you can put this towel up against the wall. You're gonna get 90 degrees in your arm and elbow, and you're pushed for 6 seconds, right? And then release. You're gonna push for 6 seconds, and then release, right? You could do 3 sets of 10 or 30 straight, and you can do that a couple of times. This is something that you're gonna feel this out. You're gonna see how much your body can handle and how much it can be put to the test. Once you get really good at this, which maybe a week of this, maybe 2, I'm already up to this, where you add a ball, same deal, and push against the ball, right? A little unstable here, so it's challenging you a bit more, you know, laterally, up, down, right? And so you got to hold stability a bit better. This is much easier, right? There's no moving, there's no sliding. So the ball's a bit more challenging. Same number of reps, just keep doing that. Just to continue off that range of motion, shoulder flexion, we could do something like, you take a towel, and we're just gonna do some wall slides. Basically gonna come up. What you wanna watch out for is like really excessive arching of the back or hiking of the shoulders. You really wanna try to keep very neutral here, neutral spine, all right? And as we go up, we're going towards the wall a little bit as we go up, right? Because I'm increasing my range of motion, right? Now I'm moving along very quickly. This is my business, right? And I'm really committed to it. Many of you might not be able to get up there at this time, right? You might only be able to get here, and that's okay too, right? But you keep going according to what you're capable of, right? You could also do it just one hand, right? Same deal here. You know, you could do 30 or 3 sets of 10 or 15. Something else we can do is we want to create a little bit of tension and build the muscles up on the lateral portion of the shoulder. So we could just put the towel up against the wall and just hold 6 seconds and then let go. So basically I'm pushing my arm. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm gonna try it with this arm so you can see better. I'm pushing, right, towards the wall, little strength, hold 6 seconds, then I release the tension. Hold. So I'm feeling right on the side of my shoulders here, this lateral portion of the shoulder. You're feeling that being worked a little bit. You know, working do just strength, a little resistance. That's really the goal here. Same thing with the other exercise we did before this. We can use the ball and do the same thing. All right, some tension, and then release. Do a little tension, then release. All right. So those are very good exercises, and you can just keep doing them, keep doing those, and challenge yourself a bit more until your shoulders start to feel fatigue, which is good. And if you haven't worked out in a while, it's going to feel good to get those muscles active again. I know that I feel great doing it. All right, so one of the other things we can do here is to, you saw in my last video, the therapist was working on my neck and my traps all over this area, because again, when you're in the sling, you're getting hiked up, it starts to get tight and lots of tension, and you feel it. You feel the bumps, you feel it's gonna hurt, maybe even give you headaches. So after we can release them, you'll have the therapist do that, then you want to stretch them. So you can just kind of hold your neck here, try to get as much to that side as you can. You can do without your hand, right? You just do 10-second holds, 15-second holds. And you can take your hand, do it again. You can do this as many times as you need to do it. I tend to do 30-second holds, 4 or 5 rounds of that. Then think about taking your chin and tuck it into your pocket. So if I was to take my chin and put it into my left pocket, I would just do that, right? And now I'm kind of stretching those back neck muscles here. All right, again, 30-second holds, and do that 4 or 5 times. All right, guys and girls, that about wraps up our workout for this phase 2, weeks 3 or 4, potentially even a little further if you're a little bit behind, or if you started off like a little week beforehand. Stay tuned for the next phase of training, where we start to add a little bit more resistance and a little bit more bigger ranges of motion, and some more tools to work with, some more toys, let's say, to help us through this journey. So thank you again for tuning in. My name is Jazz here at Jazz Wholesale Athletes, Urban Athlete Fitness, coming at you. Hopefully you like this video. If you know someone that needs it, share it with them, and leave a comment below if you want to know anything. All right, later.